to the ANZ Business Leader Boardroom Series. In this 8th webisode of the series, Frontrunner Consulting's Doug Maitland, together with some of Western Australia's top business writers, will discuss how they've successfully integrated commercial lending into their service offering. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll help you understand not only why diversification is important, but how commercial lending can help you grow your business and your bottom line. Over the past few years, diversification has become an integral part of a broker's business. In the height of the GFC, lenders cut broker commissions by up to 30%, forcing brokers to either source more clients or integrate more services. Commercial lending proved to be a good area for brokers to diversify into. But while commercial lending aligns nicely with residential lending, becoming a competent broker in this space is easier said than done. Marketing to clients and generating leads in this space is often difficult, but we're going to show you how to do it effectively today. So let's get started. Download your workbook now. You'll find the link for your workbook under this video, and then follow along with this webisode as we guide you on how to integrate commercial lending into your current business. There will be times throughout this webisode where you'll be required to fill in your workbook. So make sure you pause the video and give yourself plenty of time to complete the tasks properly. If you do that, then at the end of this webisode, you should have all the tools you need to know how to integrate commercial lending into your business. In addition, you'll also receive 2 CPD points, which we'll give you the code for at the end of this webisode. Throughout this webisode, you'll hear from a lot of different people with various insights. To get the most value, always be thinking about how the information provided can apply to your business. Before you can integrate commercial lending into your business, you must first understand whether or not this offering will fit nicely into your business.
The first question I've got is, what was the motivation for you to diversify your business? What was the main drive for you?
To look after the customers wholly and fully.
Okay.
And understand finance, not just to be able to do a home loan and understand a home loan. You need to understand all of those things. So
Esther, for your business, typically what were most of your clients calling out for outside of residential lending?
Chose commercial and investors predominantly.
Yeah.
For a very good reason, because I was a single mum at the time and I needed to be able to look after my children. One, I've always been self-employed, so I understand it and had the knowledge. And 2, they don't want to see you on the weekends and in the evenings. Commercial people, self-employed people, they want it during business hours. So it wasn't just for that reason, but it all worked well.
Our business was predominantly residential, and being in it for, I suppose, as long as I have, we started off doing government loans of first home buyers traditionally, and I guess that's natural evolution. You pick up those clients in the early days, and they might be a first home buyer, and they'll go into the workforce, and after a period of time they change and they come to you and go, look, we're setting up our own business. And really, to keep those clients on the books, it is quite sticky to be able to diversify into that commercial side. So you really need to have, obviously more strings to your bow than just doing residential home loans.
A lot of clients actually like you to take on a quasi-bank manager type role, where not only can you look after their home loan needs or their investment property purchases, but if they do require a car for their business or a vehicle, a forklift or a tractor or whatever it might be, you can actually take care of that as well, right up through to purchasing the commercial property which they may rent or which they want to operate out of. So I guess it's pushed upon you a little bit by need of your client base and their desire to grow, and you've just got to accommodate and go with them.
There's a lot more advice to give around commercial, and you can, the potential that we have to provide a better outcome for our client is huge. In commercial, you can make a real difference to their business, and getting to know their business and understand them is a lot more interesting. And you find yourself analysing financial statements and things like that, and really bringing nailing right down into the client's details and getting that information and then presenting it to the bank.
As time goes on and you do spend more time with your clients, you almost take on an advising type role in a way, because we are effectively credit advisors. They want to be able to bounce ideas off you. We can talk it through different scenarios. So you're kind of held in the same light as your solicitor or as your accountant or as your financial planner. The broker who can specialise in commercial has also got, I guess, a little bit more weight with your clients and can not influence their decisions but help them make decisions about which investments, not investments as such, but how to structure your borrowings to achieve what they're actually wanting to do.
That for a broker who's now doing resi, if they're looking at a strategic move to really cement their relationships, I believe commercial is a far stronger and deeper relationship. So as a broker, if you're able to look after that space particularly well, I think you've got a much deeper and stronger relationship with the client, as opposed to the home loan segment, which obviously there's a lot of home loan brokers out there, and clients, in the 8 years I've been broking, I haven't lost a commercial customer to another broker. I've lost a couple to banks when they've actually tried to pinch them, but in terms of other brokers. So I think the depth of that relationship, I've probably refinanced some customers 2 and 3 times out of a needs basis with different banks, but the common thread has been myself, the accountant, the lawyer, whoever it might be, going through that process. So I think for someone who is looking at a strategic way to sort of cement those relationships, I think it's a much deeper and stronger relationship than what you get in resi and or even the chattel finance space.
It's where resi's a lot more price driven, I think. So they're consumers, it's a lot more price driven, whereas commercial lending is a lot more around accommodation, ease of dealing, just getting the deal done. It's not as price sensitive, I wouldn't have thought.
No.
Yeah, often with commercial lending you are dealing with business people who are very busy. They don't have a lot of time to go out researching options with different banks. They're just quite happy to give you the mandate to go out and sort out finance on whatever asset they're buying. And I found generally if they like you and they trust you, you act as their quasi bank manager, and it really does strengthen the relationship, and it's something that it doesn't just disappear from you. As long as you're doing the right thing and you've got their interests in mind, you've got a client for life basically.
Home loans are huge, and the commercial as big, pay less, twice the work. It's actually been a struggle. I actually dodged the commercial bullet for a long time for that reason. I have to do it now, and I'm enjoying it as I come into it, but it doesn't pay as well. A lot of heart and soul.
That's where the relationship, you build a longer term relationship, so it's not just the one deal that you'll do the second deal, the third deal, you do the home loans afterwards, their cars, and so there's a lot more value add to it, whereas a home loan you can bang it out fairly quickly and you don't get that real good relationship.
Now that you understand why brokers integrate commercial lending into their business, you can decide whether or not this diversified offering is right for you and your business. Pause this video now and think about whether or not you could successfully introduce commercial lending into your business and the benefits that you would like to receive as a result of doing so. Now that you've identified whether or not integrating commercial lending into your business is a good idea, you must now take the time to train yourself in this area. But how much training and education is necessary to become skilled in commercial lending?
So you need to know who does what, who's got strengths in various industries, different types of business proposals. So the majority of my initiation in terms of broking was going out to the lenders and meeting with them, just seeing what they actually do, what sort of space they lend in, what they have an appetite for, and that was probably my research getting into that commercial area.
Most brokers that have dabbled in resi, and especially done a lot of resi vanilla type lending, is the transition to understand companies, trusts, accountants, prepared financials, asking the questions, understanding cash flow, and really getting to know the client and their business. And so many clients now have more than one entity, more than one business, more than one structure, and really getting to understand where the money's going, where it's coming from, where it's going to, and then being able to work that back and present it in a way that a credit assessor can pick it up and say, yep, I understand this, I can see everything's there, and these are the reasons why these anomalies have happened, and therefore, yeah, we're happy to do the deal. And I think that, again, it's great to be able to go out and network and get referral sources, but it's very dangerous to go out and build referral sources if you don't have the skill sets to back them up. And I think for a lot of brokers, they might deal with the odd self-employed client if they're dealing in home loans, but they might not get the opportunity to look at various structures that regularly. So they'll learn a little bit, become a bit rusty, and then learn a little bit again when the next deal comes across the desk. So like everything, practice makes perfect, and for a lot of brokers, they're probably not getting enough practice assessing those types of deals.
The aggregators have a big part to play in the educational piece in terms of offering not only residential PD days but commercial PD days, engaging all the banks and getting speakers, whether it be the local BDMs like myself or specialists in a certain field to educate their brokers on a more regular basis. Some of the aggregator groups are very active in it, some less so, but I know from ANZ's point of view we're more than happy to attend those sort of training sessions and offer some of our insights on products, specifics, maybe some credit scenarios that to help educate the broker.
I think that's one area that I guess you have to be realistic about when you're targeting commercial. You want to go in sort of at the grassroots level. You want to start dabbling around in a few smaller deals before you jump into your $25 million transaction. At that top end of town, it's pretty heavily banked and it's very competitive. And you cut your brokerage down and down and down, and your trail comes down. So, but what I've found is in that sort of $1 to $3 million commercial lend, that's an area that's probably a little bit underbanked and underserviced. Yep. And that's an area where you can come in, you've found a small business, they might have a home loan of $500,000, they might have an overdraft facility, a couple of HPs, and a business loan of whatever, $1 million. And that does fall under the radar a little bit in terms of bank servicing. So that's an area, I guess my value proposition is I can service those clients probably better than what they're being serviced.
With commercial transactions, well, if you're doing larger commercial transactions, you've got to be, most brokers will participate with annual reviews with the banks as well. So every 12 months you've got to collect their figures, you've got to update financials and update HP schedules and forward that on to the various lenders. So you hopefully you're staying in touch with your clients more than every 12 months, but at least every 12 months you have to touch base with your clients if you're doing what you should be to warrant your trail. To get entrenched in a commercial application that's going to take them 6 months and 150 phone calls and all the emails, they just rather not deal with it. To have to go through and read through pages and pages of financials and do all that sort of stuff, try and up-spec themselves on that, they'd rather not deal with it. So you've got to be willing to put in a huge amount of time and effort to, I think, transition into that space.
I think it would be worthwhile for a person that's considering doing commercial loans to join a firm that has a commercial department, perhaps work in their residential area, but see if you could be mentored into their commercial area and have an experienced commercial broker work with you over a couple of years to bring you to that standard. Because in commercial, if you get it wrong, you get it really wrong, and it damages the reputation of the industry, and also can be a commercial risk to you as well.
The aggregator group that I'm with, AFG, have a commercial referrer panel, recognising that a lot of resi brokers don't really want to get involved in it. So there's an option just to refer it to a panel member who's got the commercial experience. In that way, the relationship with the client is preserved because it always goes back through that initial resi introducer, and the transaction's actually handled correctly. And there's also a mechanism to split commissions as well, so it's sort of a win-win for all of us.
I think also it depends on a business model that you're working in as well. I think it's a bit harder for an established resi broker who's pretty much seeing clients writing, packaging, submitting and doing everything else, for them to then say, right, I'm going to stop doing that and skill up and diversify. You sort of almost have to look at your business model and say, well, am I going to continue down that path? And if so, then I'm going to keep writing home loans and I'm happy to do it. Or am I prepared to sort of lose a little bit of control with that, appoint a PA or a processor or a contract broker to start doing some of that work for you, so that you have the time and you're not losing the income and you're not losing the customers as well, and you can still manage the relationship but dedicate more time to other aspects of your business. I mean, we're guilty of working within our business and not on our businesses on a weekly basis, so it really depends on the broker and what their aspirations are for the growth of their business.
A lot of the brokers that I look after don't want to get their hands dirty with commercial because they are busy with resi, and that's time consuming, and as you all have alluded to, unless you have got the background, your analytical skills, and know what's happening in the marketplace, it can be a long road to really make it as a commercial broker. So I think the majority of brokers these days understand their business a lot better, and diversification isn't just simply just in a commercial. You've alluded to insurance, which I know some go down, and that's, I think, what works for some brokers doesn't automatically work for others. So it's the old horses for courses. If you're comfortable selling insurance and home loans, or you feel that you're not getting anywhere, you're still writing a lot of home loans, but you need to reinvigorate yourself out there in the marketplace, and you want to protect your client, well, you need to sort of upskill yourself a little bit to do it.
Commercial takes a lot of effort, and there's a huge amount of going backwards and forwards with the lenders, and if you're doing it all by yourself, it's pretty challenging. So that's why we've had a couple of guys come and join us recently, where they can handball stuff off to admin assistants, and then they can continue to go out there and meet and see clients and work harder on bigger deals, and handball a number of the smaller tasks to the admin team. So that's pretty important if someone was to go into commercial broking, that they have got that structure behind them.
Pause this video now and think about how you plan to get yourself up to speed with commercial lending. Will you take an additional diploma, or perhaps you'll bring a specialist commercial broker into the business? Have a think about it. Now that you've identified how you will implement commercial lending into your business, you must start thinking about how you will successfully grow this side of the business. What marketing and lead generation techniques will you implement, and which ones will prove to be the most successful?
It's quite different to the resi market, where you might be aligned with a real estate agent or a settlement agent. With the commercial, my experience has told that the best leads, the warm leads, come straight out of the accountants and the financial planners. Commercial deals do tend to have a long lead time, as you alluded to, but often the clients will talk to their accountant, they'll plan it up front, they'll work out what the borrowing entity is going to be, which asset type, etc. So get your referral points set up from the start, because there's no point in having the experience and understanding how to write a commercial transaction. If you're not getting leads and you don't have established referral points, it's very difficult to get into.
Financial planners are a fantastic source of referrals, more so I find in the resi space, but then financial planners more in the resi space, but then accountants probably a bit more in the commercial space, where they're recommending on higher level types of transactions. And we've got a number of, well, most of the brokers in the organisation have got a number of financial planners and accountants that they get leads from directly on a fairly regular basis. And that sort of keeps the wheels turning.
Our business has been around a long time, so we've got quite a big database. So a lot of it is off referrals, and
Clients or?
Just personal, our clients, so personal referrals, and you wouldn't be in the industry for a long period of time, I don't think, if you weren't doing a good job in servicing your clients and getting those referrals, because you find for every client you see, you should get 2 or 3 referrals, and that's obviously the best source. When brokers start out initially, to generate that client base, they'll obviously partner up with a real estate company or a building company or accountants and financial planners, but you do get to a size with your business where some of those referrals may tend to drop off a bit when your client base is big enough. So you've either got to take on more staff and continue to grow that way, or you just rely on those personal referrals?
You can definitely do direct marketing for things like motor vehicle finance and small type transactions. I think they work, and it can work quite well with the right type of marketing strategy. I don't think you can really refer and do a traditional type of marketing and expect to pick business clients up with a letter. It can happen, but I think it's much harder to penetrate. So, personally, I think if you look, motor vehicles and leasing and that sort of stuff, doing direct marketing and mail outs to databases, I think works well. I think then segmenting works a little bit better, and then catch-ups, if you've got your existing client database and they're self-employed people, and maybe you've picked up some of their business but maybe not all of it, and then sort of leveraging off the relationship, building stronger relationships, and I think it's definitely a case of building trust over time. So it's not a let's catch up or let's send a letter out once and expect something back, much like any business, but especially with business customers, they really do, they're busy people, they want to deal with people they can trust, and their guard's up probably a little bit more, before letting someone completely in and letting them look through everything that they've got. And so I think with certain types of marketing it'll work, and you can do it in your database, especially a resi database, and it does work for us to some degree, but then picking up a more complex type transaction definitely revolves more around relationships, and as everyone's pointed out, it's referrals by professionals that generally seem to be the most sticky customers.
What's the most effective marketing initiative that you have to maintain client relationships?
My experience that probably the most effective is organising an event like a seminar held in conjunction with some of your referral points, and just getting a group of 20, 30 people in a room together, drinks after work, just run through something, maybe some initiatives which some of the banks are coming out with, or a quick talk on interest rates, recent experiences, just so people are aware of what's out there, what banks are doing what, and just getting everyone in the same place at the same time sort of builds up your profile with the clients.
Good CRM software as well, creating a mafia file for your customers so you know more than just their names and their date of birth, but hobbies and interests and children's names, and so you might not be catching up with them as often as you like, but when you do catch up you are building a relationship that becomes a friendship, like you pointed out. And if you're dealing with a lot of people, you do tend to forget details, so it's good to have them recorded so that you can refresh yourself at all times and maintain a close relationship.
As you can see, there are a variety of lead generation techniques a broker can implement to help them give their commercial lending business a leg up. Some will work well, while others could potentially be less effective. Which techniques will you implement into your business? Take the time now to create a marketing strategy for your new commercial business offering. Now that you've developed a clear and concise strategy for your new commercial business, the next thing you must understand is client needs. Commercial borrowers differ from residential borrowers. They have different needs, and it's important for brokers to recognise what these needs are.
Westminster have a Facebook page. I think Simon, your business does as well. How have you found that in terms of has it created any more business for you?
We had a bit of a review 18 months ago, so we weren't on Facebook. Our website needed to be updated, so we went through the process of updating our website and setting up a Facebook page at the same time. We looked at all the costs of it. We do various mail outs and other things, and we thought, if we cut out doing the mail outs, which can be quite expensive, we can invest that money in on Facebook and getting our web page up to a higher ranking on Google. The response and the number of deal flow that we've got out of that has been fairly poor. So we still continue to do your normal mail outs and things like that, so we haven't cut back on any costs. It's just been an additional cost to the business. But as far as business clients, and that's 99% of our clients are business clients, they're not going to look on Google to buy a $4 million commercial factory. I don't think that's the type of, they're not those types of clientele. where Facebook and websites I think get a lot more traffic is in that the consumer market where they're chasing cheap rates, where they want to see something quick and they can plug in an inquiry form and it comes back with an automated response saying we can get you 5% as an interest rate. Well, happy days, I'll go with it. But to try and get a quick response on an inquiry form and through a website or on Facebook, I'm not sure about the value or the value add in the commercial sector, unfortunately.
It's still more about getting your name out there, and our brokers like the fact that you've got to have various touch points. You can't just rely on one area to generate your business. So, Facebook is still awareness as people on. You sit on there, your friends, family members, and what have you. And so for our brokers on there to get on there and have that on there, I think it has brought some business in. Whether it be directly or indirectly, I think you still get some business out of there. So whether it be a small ticket item or just a client, I didn't realise you guys did that.
Yeah, like an active business card for you almost. People jump. They might just be looking on that to see if they're going to make a call or if they're going to, investigate and do a bit more research. It helps them sort of preview you before they actually meet you. But
we don't drive a lot of traffic to our website either, but it's a point of reference, and people go looking for you, and just to see what your capabilities are. And if you've got a website there, it establishes credibility.
In your business plan, look forward 2 to 3 years. Is anyone here planning on further diversifying their service offering?
We just have. I've just become part of HIA Vehicles, which is Australia-wide. I'm operating WA, and that's to work with Housing Industry Association and all its members for vehicle purchasing, fully maintained leasing, which we've white labelled. So I've kept Broad Finance has been on for 13 odd years, and that continues, but I've diversified further to grow in another way.
We've started a new business building commercial properties, mainly for clients that don't qualify for a bank loan at this point, and then organising pre-leases so that they can have custom built premises that they can then lease from us with a guaranteed buy in a couple of years' time once their position improves. So I'm doing that in conjunction with the commercial builder.
Now that you understand what sort of needs your commercial clients may have, it's a good idea to jot down the ways in which you plan to cater to these needs. Will you meet with your clients more than once? Will you stay in touch with them on an ongoing basis through your CRM system? Have a think about it. Now that you've identified how you find commercial clients and cater to their needs, it's time to get started. So good luck with your new integrated business.